Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. We are here with the second part of anti-epileptic drugs, and it is the last part. Before moving on to the lecture content, let's have a quick recall what we did in the previous lecture. We defined what is epilepsy, what are seizures, what are the various causes of epilepsy, and what are the various types of epilepsies. Then we discussed about the classification of anti-epileptic drugs, that was on the basis of their site of action or the mechanism of action, as well as on the basis of their chemical structure. Then we discussed in detail about phenytoin, its mechanism of action, its adverse effects, its clinical uses, and drug interactions. And let's move on to the learning objective of today's lecture. We'll be discussing about the remaining anti-epileptic drugs, which are like carbamazepine, valproate, lamotrigine, and few others which we have already done in sedative hypnotic chapter. Then we'll have a brief outline about what is status epilepticus and how it is treated, because it can be asked in MCQ sometimes. Then we will have a slide in which I'll be telling you about some mnemonics to remember the side effects of these anti-epileptic drugs. With that, we move on to the next slide. Let us start this lecture with a clinical scenario, and as it shows that a 9-year-old child is having difficulty in learning at the school, has a brief epilepsis of awareness with eyelid fluttering that occurs every 5 to 10 minutes. EEG study reveals brief 3 Hz spike and wave discharges appearing synchronously in all leads. Which drug would be effective in this child without the disadvantages of excessive sedation or tolerance development? So first of all, you have to seek what are the key points of the scenario. Okay. Number one, it's a child. Okay. What is it telling you? Eyelid fluttering with the lapses of awareness and occurring every 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so this is basically showing you have to reach to the conclusion that it is a case of absence seizures, which is normally seen in the school going children. Okay, and obviously the drug of choice for this absence seizures is ethosuximide, and I told you previously it's a very important MCQ. And when you write down ethosuximide, then the first thing which comes in your mind is number one, absence seizure, number two, the T-type calcium channel blocker. Okay. This is the main backbone of the anti-epileptic drugs. This diagram, if you know this diagram, then you know the mechanism of action of all the anti-epileptic drugs. If you memorize this one slide, then it's enough for all the drugs. So once again, phenytoin, carbamazepine, valproate, and lamotrigine, they are acting at the level of the sodium channel. And remember one thing, this phenytoin is active only on the rapidly firing neuronal discharges and not act on the resting membrane potential. Then we have this GABA benzodiazepine chloride channel complex, which you have done it many times previously when we discussed about barbiturates and benzodiazepines. So here again various drugs are acting like barbiturates, benzodiazepines, vigabatrin, valproate, and gabapentin. If you look into the detail, as you can see, the vigabatrin is inhibiting the transaminase enzyme, hence decreasing the metabolism or the uh, action of termination of action of GABA, so making it more available, which is our primary aim. Our primary aim to treat the epilepsy is to increase the level of inhibitory neurotransmitter and to decrease the level of excitatory neurotransmitter. So here we have the gabapentin, which is a GABA analog. Then we have the calcium channel blocker and T-type calcium current. And the main drug is ethosuximide, and it is the drug of choice for absence seizures. Absence seizures are seen in children. Okay. Then we have trimethadione, then we have valproate. And I told you earlier that valproate and valproate. This is having multiple mechanisms of action. So carbamazepine, it is a sodium channel blocker, and just like phenytoin, and so no need to memorize the detail because you have done the prototype drug phenytoin, so you have to just remember the differentiating points. Adverse effects of carbamazepine: it causes dose related neurotoxicity, which includes sedation, dizziness, vertigo, diplopia, and ataxia. Same, more or less same as that of phenytoin. Then hypersensitivity, photosensitivity, and lupus-like syndrome, and it also causes fetal malformations. So students, if you see lupus-like syndrome, which is the SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus, this is a drug-induced lupus. Okay, it is reversible. Remember, when you withdraw the drug, the lupus, the symptoms they disappear. Whereas, in fact, in real, the SLE is an autoimmune disorder and it's a lifelong, multiple organ affected disease. But this drug induced lupus is reversible. So, point to remember. And if you recall, you have already done few drugs which cause lupus-like syndrome. So write down the list of the drugs which cause SLE-like syndrome. You have already covered those, okay? And some are yet to come in your upcoming lectures. Drug interactions, it's also an enzyme inducer just like phenytoin sodium. It's a P450 enzyme inducer. Clinical uses, it is used apart from the epilepsy for the trigeminal neuralgias, manic depressive illness, and acute manias as well. You must have heard about the mania, or sometimes there is a bipolar disorder in which mania is accompanied with depression. So it is used for the manic depressive illness. To memorize carbamazepine, carbamazepine. So it's a cytochrome P450 inducer. It causes ataxia, and other effects are that affects the retards the bone marrow. ठीक है, bone marrow suppressor है, so it would going to have thrombocytopenia and neutropenia. And B is for the baby, so it's a teratogenic drug, same like phenytoin, but it has some different teratogenic effects I'll be telling you shortly. Then N is for hyponatremia and like syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. Also remember Steven-Johnson syndrome, which is a fatal type of drug allergy. It is also seen with carbamazepine, and liver toxicity is also seen with this drug. Then ethosuximide. Its mechanism of action, as you just saw in the diagram, it inhibits the T-type calcium currents, and it suppresses this current, does not affect other calcium channels which are present in the heart and the smooth muscles. And its clinical use is it's only used in absence seizures, and absence seizures are seen in children. Then valproic acid, it has got multiple mechanism of action. Number one, phenytoin-like. It's frequency dependent, which means that it is effective only against the highly rapidly firing neurons, not under the normal neurons. Then it also behaves like ethosuximide as it blocks the calcium current. It also increases the level of GABA by inhibiting the enzyme GABA transaminase. Adverse effects of valproic acid: it causes anorexia, nausea, vomiting, alopecia, and curling of hair as well. Rashes and thrombocytopenia, increase in the liver transaminases, and fulminant hepatitis. So its hallmark is it's affecting the liver. To memorize the side effects of valproic acid, we have V for vomiting and nausea, A for anorexia, L for liver toxicity, P for pancreatitis, retention of weight, O for edema, and A for alopecia. I hope all of you know what is alopecia. It is loss of hair. T is for teratogenicity. Teratogenicity means okay, it is going to have bad effects on the fetus. It is a teratogenic drug. It causes fetal malformations. It crosses the placental barrier and infects the newborn. And tremors. And look at this point. E is for enzyme inhibition. So it's a cytochrome P450 inhibitor. Its difference from phenytoin and carbamazepine at this point is that it's a cytochrome P450 enzyme inhibitor. So you have to memorize this thing. So the trademark is cytochrome P4 inhibitor, liver toxicity and alopecia. And of course, it's a teratogenic drug. This is its teratogenic effects. It causes neural tube defects. So if any MCQ is asked, okay, which of the following anti-epileptic drug causes spina bifida? Spina bifida is a neural tube defect. So it is valproic acid. The clinical uses of valproic acid, it is used in absence seizures, generalized tonic-clonic seizures. In absence seizures, it's only used as alternative to ethosuximide. Okay, then we have simple partial seizures, myoclonic, which is affecting one part of the muscle, and atonic, in which the person falls suddenly to the ground and loses its body tone, mania, and bipolar disorder. So these are the clinical uses. Then we have other newer drugs or the small drugs which you should know a little bit about them. Vigabatrin, as you saw in the diagram, it's a GABA transaminase inhibitor, and its hallmark adverse effects are it can lead to psychosis and ocular effects. So remember this thing. This can also be asked in MCQ. Psychosis and ocular effects. Then tigerbalin inhibits the GABA transporter in the neuron and prolongs the action of this GABA. Then we have gabapentin. As the name is indicating, it's the structural analog of GABA and but does not directly activate the GABA receptor like what benzodiazepines were doing. Okay. Other drugs which may facilitate the inhibitory actions of GABA include felbamate, topiramate, and valproic acid. This is a slide showing the various drugs and their mechanism of action and the clinical uses and their adverse effects. So this is from your Kaizen. Kindly memorize it. And lamotrigine, we have already discussed in classification. It's blocking sodium channel, calcium channel, as well as it's a glutamate blocker, right? And it has got a number of clinical uses in generalized tonic-clonic, myoclonic, and absence, whereas levetiracetam, it binds synaptic protein and it's effective against the generalized and partial seizures, while the tigerbalin is effective against the partial ones. And topiramate, its mechanism is sort of unknown, and it has also got a broad spectrum of action. Then zonisamide is a sodium channel blocker and it's also used in every type of epilepsy. Okay. So students, at this point, it is important for you to memorize that in Journal of Pharmacology, we discussed about the cytochrome P450 enzyme inducers and inhibitor, and it's a university question which is being asked again and again. Define enzyme induction and give example. Define enzyme inhibition, what is the mechanism, and give example. So to memorize from this chapter of anti-epileptic drug, there are three inducers. Okay, only from this whole anti-epileptic drugs. Phenytoin, which is an enzyme inducer. Then we have carbamazepine, which is also, and phenobarbital, which is a barbiturate, and it's a cytochrome P450 enzyme inducer. And remember one thing, all those drugs which are inducers or inhibitors, they increase or decrease the metabolism of other drugs, and they can increase or decrease the efficacy of those drugs. And in inhibitors, we have sodium valproate, which is also an anti-epileptic drug. So this is the mnemonic to memorize the enzyme inducer. It's CRAP GPs. I'll be just telling you shortly about them. That from C there is carbamazepine, R is for rifampicin, which is an anti-TB drug you'll be discussing in chemotherapy. Then A is for alcohol, P is for phenytoin, and G is for griseofulvin, which is an antifungal drug, and again the P is for phenobarbital. And students, remember one thing, that this A is for alcohol and Chronic alcoholism is another different effect, showing different effects, whereas acute alcoholism is showing different effect. So if a person takes alcohol in it's a chronic alcoholism, there's a history of chronic alcoholism, it induces the metabolism of other drug. Whereas acute intake of alcohol leads to cytochrome P450 enzyme inhibition. Okay, this is the differentiating point between the acute and chronic alcoholism. This is to memorize the phenytoin. P for P450 interaction, it's enzyme inducer. H is for hirsutism. E is for enlarged gums. N is for nystagmus. Y is for yellow browning of skin, and T is for teratogenicity. You remember it causes fetal Hydantoin syndrome. O is for osteomalacia as it affects the vitamin D. Then I is for interference with B12, and then hence leading to anemia. And N is for neuropathies, vertigo, ataxia, and headache. Very, very important from the examination point of view. You should know what is status epilepticus. As I just told you that status epilepticus is a medical emergency, and the recurrent tonic-clonic seizures without any recovery of consciousness. So it can lead to fatal conditions if not treated at proper time. So it's an emergency. You have to give the drugs by parenteral route. Remember one thing, whenever there is any status condition which is status asthmaticus or epilepticus, then you have to inject the drug by any parenteral route rather than giving it orally, because the person is unconscious. He may present with tongue bite or loss of incontinence. He may present with incontinence of urine or feces, so you have to be very vigilant. Okay, so you give diazepam, which is a benzodiazepine, and then you can also give phenobarbital or phenytoin as alternatives, but the drug of choice is diazepam. We also give positive pressure respiration and maintenance of ABC, which is airway, breathing, and circulation. And since phenytoin causes cardiotoxicity, so we prefer the water soluble form of this drug, which is fosphenytoin. It's a safer parenteral agent. So the key point is you have to remember, you have to give diazepam by injectable route. So in this slide, there is a quick recap of the teratogenicity of various anti-epileptic drugs. And as you know, valproic acid is notorious for causing the neural tube defects, just showed to the diagram, causing spina bifida in the newborn. Then carbamazepine also causes spina bifida, but the hallmark is of valproic acid. Then it causes craniofacial anomalies. And for phenytoin, you have already done fetal Hydantoin syndrome comprising of microcephaly, and there is loss of phalanges and facial anomalies. As compared to these drugs, the safer drugs are lamotrigine and levetiracetam. Okay. That we end today's lecture. Thank you very much for being with me and listening to me. I tried to make it very easy and simple for you and told you about the typical questions which are being repeatedly asked. So for your assignment, kindly write down the names of the drug which are enzyme inducers and inhibitors. Okay, from all over the pharmacology, the drugs which you have covered and the drug which you have to cover in future. So just make a list and write down the mechanism. Why does enzyme induction occurs and why does enzyme inhibition occurs? So make a note of the drugs and along with the definition of this whole enzyme induction and inhibition, and submit it on the WhatsApp group. And with that we end the lecture. Allah Hafiz.